Hello, everybody. This is Serpent Stinger back again, and today we're here with another reaction from Luke Stevens. A skeptic tries Hogwarts Legacy. Now, I play Hogwarts Legacy on my Twitch channel, and I've been interested in the skeptic's point of view on the game simply because have been playing it and enjoying it quite a lot, but there are some issues with the game that I will probably talk about when I eventually drop a review video of the game, which I'm waiting until I beat the main story for. But I'm interested in what somebody that's more skeptical of the game than hopeful's point of view is on the game to see like where other people are at. So I figured I'd record a reaction to it so we could kind of discuss. So here we go.
2 in the morning. Hogwarts Legacy launched in early access about 4 hours ago for me,
Not
and
early
I have been
access,
playing it non-stop
just
since
early
that
release.
moment in a private members-only stream on our live channel. Long story short, if you want to check it out, just search Luke Stevens Live in the search bar, blah, blah, blah. You've heard me say it before. The reason I'm staying up so late to do this instead of just waiting till tomorrow like a normal adult, especially somebody who has like a kid and a wife at home, it's because I simply want to play it now, and I'm impatient. But more specifically, I want to get my thoughts on this game out as early as possible
Okay.
because I know a lot of you guys were hoping for a review from me. And as you know, I was in active conversations with Warner Brothers and they just didn't send a code. I was under the impression they would, and then they didn't. I can't explain it. Other reviewers on YouTube didn't get it. It is what it is. No big deal. We're here though now with the game running on the PlayStation 5 and giving it a shot to see whether or not it's actually worth your dollar. And at this point, after going through all of the introductory sections of the game, after getting acquainted with the combat system, after getting acquainted with world exploration, the styles of everything in this game. I mean,
Okay, so it's not skeptic as in like he's skeptical of the game, I'm guessing, because he doesn't seem to be talking like about how much he dislikes the idea of the game coming out or anything like that.
there's just so much to tackle. So I'm going to try to give my overarching thoughts in a semi-coherent way. Keep this video a little bit shorter. We're going to do a comprehensive review on Friday, and of course a big critique of this game, breaking down every single little element within the next 2 weeks probably. So comprehensive thoughts will be there, but this is my
Okay.
overarching thoughts after getting my feet wet in the game. And before anybody says anything, yeah, I still hate the DualSense Edge. I had to plug it in because the battery life is so terrible. It would have died 2 times over in the middle of the live stream we did that was 4 hours long because it's a battery hog and they shrunk the battery. So you know what?
Oh,
It is what
I
it is. I'm
understand that
trying to
pain.
like it, but I just
All of the
don't.
PS4,
Now let me
5
preface
controllers
all of
feel
this
like they
by
drain
simply
battery
saying
real
that I
fast.
am a proud skeptic. I do not believe things until there is adequate evidence to believe that thing. And in the case of video games, I don't believe that a game is worth your money until I've seen evidence to prove that point. And when there's red flags, when there's concerning things going on with the game, it can still end up really good, but that should start to get you a little bit more critical, a little bit more skeptical, and you should withhold your money until
I disagree with that. We're gonna let him finish, but I disagree with where he's saying.
your opinion has been concretely confirmed to be in one camp or the other based on the evidence. In the case of
Yeah, I disagree with that. I understand the holding your money. The one thing I will say there is you should hold your money until you're sure about buying something. If you think that you're going to like the product, but you're not 100% sure, you don't buy the product. You buy the product after you're sure that you're going to like it. But the whole with the controversy popping up, I've talked about it before on my Twitch channel. It's a bunch of horse malarkey. Uh, I've talked about it before. I'll probably drop a video talking about it at some point, or I won't because I don't want to get into that topic too much. We'll see. But at the end of the day, you shouldn't let a controversy like that like fluctuate your opinion on whether or not you should buy the game because a controversy specifically like the one that affected Hogwarts Legacy really shouldn't have even affected Hogwarts Legacy. It was just a bunch of bullies.
Of Hogwarts Legacy, there were some warning signs going into this. It's a studio that hadn't developed something of this scale.
Fair.
It's of a franchise that, of course, has extremely high expectations
The fair meter, the not fair critique meter. Let's do this.
surrounding it. It's technologically a very difficult game to pull off. I mean, they're creating an entire giga castle for you to explore, and they want you to do that seamlessly without
Uh, yes and no. I mean, the thing is, games have become a lot easier to create over the time, whereas you've gotten more and more different types of engines and better like just well engines to design in. So yes, but also no. Also, you have to take into context that all of Hogwarts, while it's never been done in a fashion like this before, you do have a general understanding of how the world is supposed to look from both the movies and the books. So it's not like you're designing something from your head and putting it on paper and then putting it from paper to a game. You already have a large step done. You just have to do it justice. So I don't know if I would really say it's that hard, but I will say being done by a game studio that hasn't done a game like this before would make it hard.
load screens, at least in theory. They have to come up with some way for combat to be engaging and also
Mm,
not tedious or repetitive over the course of a by some accounts 60 to 70 hour campaign. And beyond all of
it's not a 60 to 70 hour campaign. That's only if you do like all the quests. From what I've been hearing, it's like a 25-hour campaign. And I'm pretty sure I'm almost halfway done on my Twitch stream, and I haven't even been playing for like 20 hours. I'm like at 15. So I'll be honest, no, it's not that big. The world is big, not the campaign.
that,
Oh, but I forgot the other reason why I paused. The interesting combat. If you're talking about from like orientation of you've never played a video game before and you're coming into Hogwarts Legacy because you're like a Harry Potter fan, the combat is engaging. But if you're talking about somebody that's played a lot of video games, the combat's not very engaging when it comes to like not being repetitive, but it is fun and it is dynamic. And you can decide whether or not it's not repetitive or not because you decide your own combos. You decide how you engage the fight. Now, there are some issues that I'll get into when I do my own review, but in all honesty, the combat system, I've said this before in games, so long as it feels good, that's all that really matters. If people really cared about repetitive combat, you wouldn't have turn-based games wouldn't be as popular as they were, and they wouldn't still be a popular format. You wouldn't have your like Pokemons. You wouldn't have your turn-based RPGs. You wouldn't have your Dungeons and Dragons. Let's be honest here. Repetitive gameplay isn't a killer. It's how fun and engaging is that repetitive gameplay that matters.
that, they just simply have to live up to the hype. There's a lot of people that have always wanted a Hogwarts game that is high quality, that is polished, that's refined, that's fun, and that also offers a pretty expansive experience for them to enjoy. And this game seems to be presenting that very experience to them. And so the expectations and
Fair.
hype is very high. And even amazing games struggled to live up to the hype. Even some of the best games ever made disappointed some people because the hype
Well,
got out
obviously.
of control. And so the question really is at the end of the day whether or not Hogwarts Legacy can actually live up to that hype for the average player. And I went into
Well, obviously there are people that are going to be disappointed by some games. A game's not made for everyone. It physically can't be made for everyone. Of course it's going to disappoint some people. I mean, technically, I'm disappointed that Hogwarts Legacy doesn't have a more like romance system. Or and when I say romance, I'm more meaning like a really strong companion system. Like, attribute it to romance because you tend to see it more in JRPGs where it is an actual romance system, or in light novels where it's a romance system. But like an actual way of building up friendships, building up to learn their secrets. It's in Hogwarts Legacy, they have something kind of similar, but it's just very questy and doesn't feel like you earn their secrets. Like there's even a moment where you are talking to somebody and they're like, "Hey, can you talk to my friend for me? Maybe you can get more out of him." And you walk up to him and he just starts spilling his life story to you. You're like, "That's not how this works." People don't just spill their deepest, darkest secrets to somebody because they walked up to them. No. Obviously, it sounds like I'm ranting on it, and I am, but that's what I mean by, like, I wanted a more complex system from that, and there wasn't, and I'm disappointed about that. But a game's going to disappoint people because it's not built for everybody, and it's not going to have everything that every single person wants, and that's fine. It's okay.
To this game, highly critical, highly skeptical. They've got to prove it to me. They've got to convince me that this actually is what they're claiming it is. And I'll be real with you right here, right now. I'm going to call it like it is. I'm not going to say anything I don't believe because what use is my word at that point? I am not joking when I say that this is far, far better than I could have possibly imagined. Like,
Okay, I was hoping
there's
he was gonna say that.
problems I've noticed. Of course, we're
Oh, yes,
very,
there are.
very early in, so it's likely that they fix most of the stuff that I'm already talking about. Not just like by the time the game launches with patches and stuff, but also just in terms of gameplay systems and structures. We're just getting started at this point. I am so blown away at what this team has been able to pull off. The world exploration is far better than it has any right to be, with little elements such as these field guide pages that encourage you to look behind every nook and cranny, that encourage you to run around looking for little tidbits, very similar to the core.
Or you just run around spamming Revelio. But hey, I will say though, I might be sounding negative, but I do have a positive opinion of the game. My review is going to be very critiquey about certain issues. And there are a bunch of issues in Hogwarts Legacy, but it has not detracted from the fun that I've had playing it.
Rock seeds in Breath of the Wild. It's something that they definitely got inspiration from, and they implemented it well. There's things constantly to interact with to keep engagement high as you explore. Just like that. I was running along, I see that bag, I grab it and pick it up, and then I move over here, and then there's a
Okay, that's
narrative
just normal.
moments and little tidbits
Yeah,
that catch your
there
attention.
you go.
It's not the sort of Ubisoft open world syndrome where they just sprinkle all this random stuff into the game for you to grab as like collectibles and collectathons. There's actual moments like this where you're pausing to be like, what is he talking about? What is this guy
Yep.
doing? Oh, this is interesting. And it's just something in the world that you can interact with and listen to, or you can just keep running. Who cares? You don't have to listen to it. If you want to, awesome. But you can just move on if you don't want to.
That is a very good
Then if
thing.
you come over here, you see this.
I've talked about this before on my live stream, and I'll probably talk about it again at some point whenever I make a video talking about my thoughts on video games and open world games. But one of the worst things you can do in an open world game is have a city or a village that's lived in and not have NPCs talking to each other because it doesn't make it feel like it's lived in. It doesn't make it feel like it's anything other than a like set rotating pattern of robots. Hogwarts Legacy does that very well. There's always a conversation going on. There's always something to listen to if you want to. And that is amazing.
Little dot, I can hit square, and I can interact with that object. And just there's a moment of interaction. They didn't have to put that there, but those little
Yep.
touches start to really increase the amount of dynamism in this world and keeps things pretty active. And you're constantly looking for new things like that to engage with. Little tidbits like that really add up quickly. But let's also talk about some little hiccups. I will not ignore them. Pop in, still a major issue. My understanding is that the day one patch has not gone out yet. I'm playing this, like I said, within the first few hours of early access, and I am seeing a good number of pop-ins, of far-off objects, of NPCs.
I think that this is an issue with how they designed the game. I've seen this before in infamous Second Son, where when you were on a building across from the lake, across from one side of the map, and you were looking across at a bridge, you would see the cars driving onto the bridge, and then they just poop out of existence. I think it's a matter of how they rendered the game. I'm sure it's kind of rendered in segments so that as you get closer, it makes characters pop in. And I'm assuming this is done so that the game can actually run. I will say I do not see this as a issue of Hogwarts Legacy. I see it as just another issue of limitation from software. And yes, the PS5 is supposed to be this big, wonderful machine that it will get rid of issues like pop-in loading screens. That's not how it works. You're going to get loading screens and pop-in issues as you get bigger and bigger games that are designed for that the console can handle. So it's an ever evolving cycle of like we're not ever going to be fully rid of it because it's constantly going to happen. And the games are going to get constantly bigger and better. And then using the new hardware. And then that hardware is not going to be good enough to get rid of the loading and pop in issues.
Of characters.
But it
There's
can be
weird things,
designed
you
better.
round corners and NPCs will pop in, or entire like meshes will pop in for various objects. So it's a common thing, and it doesn't seem to be something that they've fixed since the early access previews, but we do know a big day one patch is coming, and maybe that will fix it. My understanding is that's probably coming on the 10th now versus today, which I guess since it's after midnight, it's the 7th. But all told, it's not so aggressive that it's going to ruin the game, but it is distracting. And if you are the type of person like me that notices graphical hitches or graphical bugs and things like that,
Yes, I
it
do.
might start to annoy you. But again, to be perfectly clear, that might actually be fixed by the time the full game comes out on the 10th for everybody. So this might not even be an issue. We just don't know because we don't have the day one patch as of this moment. But I think perhaps the most exceptional thing about Hogwarts Legacy so far that I've experienced is that this game is very easy to play. And I'm not saying that the difficulty's easy. I'm not saying that the combat's easy or lacking
this is where I thought he was going to go.
in challenge. What I mean is that it's easy to just play, to just turn off your brain and get lost in this world, to just
it has the same thing that I would say Genshin Impact has, where you can just turn the game on, load up your character, and just play. Just lose yourself, and you spend hours playing the game. If you're not trying to specifically do something in the game, and you're just roaming around, just get lost in it. And that is great for open world games like this.
explore and not worry about consequences, to just wander around and see what you find. I will say in the first 4 hours of the game, it's pretty narrative heavy. You're going to be moving from quest to quest to quest to quest, and they're going to keep you on pretty.
I do not like how narrative heavy the beginning of the game was. It was for a reason, and I'm not going to spoil anything, but I do not like how heavy-handed it was. Just like I don't like how long it took you to unlock flying in the game. I feel like it should have been unlocked way earlier, and I feel like the exploration of the map should have been unlocked way earlier.
Tight tracks to make sure that you're learning the spells you need to learn as you are going, and then the game will open up like this, and geez, this actually looks very, very good. This is on performance mode, by the way. This is not on a high fidelity mode. This is on performance mode, and it looks like this. That's pretty impressive. But anyway, I'm moving on. But my point is that this is a game that you are going to sit down to play, and you're going to just start running straight to go to your quest objective, and then you're going to see a cat, and you're going to stop, and you're gonna pet him and
Pet
you're gonna
all the
cuddle it.
cats.
It's gonna be cute, and then you're gonna get up and be like, "What was I doing? Oh yeah, running over there." And then you're gonna run over.
By the way, I'd just like to mention I did play it on the best graphics mode, not on a performance mode, and I will have to say I do notice a difference already.
There, you're going to get distracted again, and it's going to happen time and time and time and time again. One of my biggest pet peeves, though, is present in this game. I bashed Forspoken for having this problem, and so I have to bash this game for having it as well. Constant fade to blacks. It's like
Oh, yes.
insane.
Yep.
You'll start to notice it the moment you boot the game up and you start playing it. It's all over the place. Whenever there's like a cutscene, it fades to black, and even within cutscenes, they fade to black between certain camera angles. Or
Yep.
when a new character comes in, they fade to black and then instantly fade back in. It's really, really weird. Like right
Yep.
here, I talked to this guy, fade to black, and like I guess it's going into a cinematic, so that's not that big of a deal. But like when I was petting the cat, it also faded to black. Here, Jacob, do an instant replay of that.
Okay. Let's talk about the fade to black issue real quick. He is not over exaggerating. It is in a lot of segments, and there's a lot of times where it does not need to do that. I honestly, it didn't even occur to me that that was an issue until he started bringing it up. But yes, it really does do that a lot. Yep.
There was a fade to black when I went to pet the cat, but when I'm not petting the cat and I disengage from that, I guess, cinematic moment, if you want to call it that, I just, like, it didn't fade out. I really
Yep.
don't understand it. And it's a personal pet peeve. It might not bug you. It probably doesn't.
It
'Cause I'm
doesn't
weird
bug
for
me,
not liking it.
but
To
it
me,
is
it's just like when a developer doesn't know what
why.
to do, or when an author or playwright or play director or TV show director or film director, when they don't know how to transition between two thoughts and two ideas and scenes, they just fade to black between them. It's the most lazy way of transitioning between two things, and I hate it. And it's all over the.
But to be fair, it does allow people to cut corners and get to something faster and allows you to do some of the things while it's being made cheaper. So, yes, he is right. It is the laziest way, but sometimes it's the best way to be able to do something within your constraints. That's why I don't mind it in games with less money being put into them because the people that are making that, like indie developers, some of them just don't have the ability to do that, to like be able to do a unique transition or a better form of a transition at every scene if they're trying to get the game out by a certain point. It's not feasible sometimes. I will say something from like Hogwarts Legacy. It's pretty lazy, especially with how common it is.
Place in this game, so it's bugging me a little bit. But the fact that I still have overwhelmingly positive things to say about it at this point, I think is a testament to just how great it is that I
Yep.
can overlook like these really, really nitpicky, stupid things. But
Actually, we're gonna back up for a quick second. My own nitpick that I'm gonna talk about real quick here, while before I do my
just
own review.
how great it is that I can overlook like these
Damn it.
really, really.
Here we go. Uncanny Valley is extremely big with this game. It is extremely big with this game, for at least for me, and it specifically comes from the eyes. If you pay attention real quick, when you're in a video game, there's two ways for a character to really be looking. They're either looking directly at the camera, so at you, or they're looking at your character. So let's proceed with this cutscene right here, for example. The heck just happened? This one works. So you can see he's looking at the character, right? But not at us at the camera. His eyes are over here, but this eye looks like it's looking at the character. This eye looks like it's kind of looking at you instead as the player, or even kind of looking over his shoulder. This is something I've noticed with a lot of characters in cutscenes in the game is the eyes aren't lined up where they should be. some characters for a bit I thought it was like a medical like they were supposed to be like playing off of the idea of the character having like a medical condition like Mad Eye Moody or other characters that have like an eye that doesn't quite operate well. But the thing is, as I've played, I've noticed this, and maybe it's just the PS5 version of the game, I don't know. But like a lot of the times it's just like it's not even just one character. And it's not solidly with the same characters either. It's just in cutscenes. Every once in a while, character's eye will be looking at you. And the other eye will be like looking at you, but it's like not where it's supposed to be. It's not in like the center of the eye like it should be. It's like if I was looking here, it's like here in the eyeball looking over. It's like it's not quite centered where it's supposed to be. It's not quite where it's supposed to be looking. Or it's not even looking at the same direction. Like they're looking in two different directions. It's really annoying and it causes, at least for me, uncanny valley vibes. And that detracts from the game, in my opinion. And it distracts me in cutscenes. I've gone on rants about it in Hogwarts when I was streaming Hogwarts Legacy. And if I can get a good scene of it, I'm going to probably record it and then use it as evidence in my review. But let's continue.
Just how great it is that I can overlook like these really, really nitpicky, stupid things. But you see, the real
You could see it right in
positive
that
to
cutscene.
having a skeptical outlook towards games like this, and the reason that I've been encouraging people to be a little bit more skeptical and think a little bit more critically about this stuff, is because if this game didn't live up to the hype, you wouldn't end up being horribly disappointed and devastated. You would be like, well, there were some warning signs, but it's a bummer. We'll just move on. Oh well. But because now we're being skeptical, and the game looks to have lived up to the hype in a lot of ways, now we're all the more excited. Now we're all the more hyped because it's like, holy crap, I was.
Yes, but you're also getting rid of the hype of you by you being more skeptical. You're also killing any hype earlier on in the game, so you can't be really excited for the game. You can't be like, "Oh, I really want to play this. Oh, this is going to be so much fun." You're not looking forward to it. So, while yes, you can be excited after it and after you get the game and have had your skeptical portions blocked it like blocking you from being hype for it, you're also killing the hype for it early. So some people that might be skeptical of the game might be like, you know what, I'm just not going to buy the game. And then they won't get to experience the game. So it's a double-edged sword, really. But I do understand what he says, and I do say that you should be skeptical about about purchasing things, but you shouldn't let that skepticism destroy your hype, and you shouldn't let other people dictate what you will and will not like. I've had plenty of times where I've played games that were rated really low by reviewers or rated really low by other players, and I've enjoyed the game perfectly fine. And I've had games that have been rated really high that I just don't like. Same thing with shows. Everybody's different, so don't let ratings completely control what you do.
Was like pretty skeptical and critical of all of this stuff they showed off, and they still blew me away. I'm all the more impressed by what they've done here after being skeptical. So like it in no way means that you don't get to enjoy the game. It just means that you in many cases enjoy it more. Like it's weird. I'm sorry, I'm fighting dark mongrels that aren't putting up that much of a fight. Stupefy. Take him out, and then dark magic, whatever crap, turn him into a
Ancient magics.
whatever goat, ram, whatever that is. That's pretty badass. Yeah, run away, bitch. And then he fades out. That's whatever. And listen, right now, I'm just wandering around in the outskirts of Hogsmeade. If I go back to Hogwarts itself by going up to this map option, and then I can go like here, I could select one of these areas, or if I want to go maybe right outside the gate and I want to go here, I'll just quick travel there because I want to check it out. I'm going to load in real
Really good.
quick.
The quick traveling in this
PS5
game,
load
there's a
times
lot of
built different. There we
there's a lot of
go.
options.
And we are in the castle itself. You see if we go out this door, not that door, this door, you can see the courtyard
Yep.
for Hogwarts. And then if I go in, I can go up the stairs and I
That's
can
a
just start exploring the castle.
That is a issue I have with the game. You notice it right there. It might be in the mode that I play, and I don't know if the graphical mode causes this issue more because he didn't seem to have it fully there. But when you go from like a really bright place to a really dark place, or the opposite, there are times where the screen will like fade black a bit, and then it will load back up. It will like load you going into the place while you're going in, and the color will shift based off of the lighting. But when it does that, it kind of like I've had a moment where like my character turned like pure like gray and whites. Like it goes like monochrome. And it's really weird, and it does it quite a few times, specifically going out of the three broomsticks, I believe.
Castle to my heart's content and have a wonderful time while doing it. And when they say that they've recreated this castle completely, they are not joking. The entire
They are
thing
not.
has been redone from scratch, and it's pretty impressive what they've
Huh,
managed
I don't
to
have
do
it.
here.
I
mean,
haven't
it
found
really
that one
is
yet.
a one-to-one recreation of this whole castle.
Oh wait, I
It's
have. I just found it from a
ridiculous.
different angle.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. And like, I don't even know where I am right now, but I'm having a good time.
You're
I'm just
above
exploring.
the divination class? No, music class.
And I'm having a wonderful go of it. It's, again, extremely easy to get lost. One frustration I do have, again, beyond like the fade to blacks and all the other random stuff, is there is a really tight FOV that you
Yes, it
cannot
is.
change on console. I think somebody in our stream today in chat said that you could customize the FOV on PC. I don't know if that's the case myself because I haven't actually gotten the PC version of the game up yet. It doesn't release for another like 7 hours from now. So I don't know what the PC version is like, but hopefully you can increase the FOV because this FOV is so tight that when you're rounding some of these corners, it's really tough to even.
I will mention the camera controls in the game are really bad. Really bad. I don't mind the FOV. I like the FOV. I'm used to playing with tight FOVs in games, but that's just me. That's just me. I know a lot of people love to have bigger FOVs, and it's a perfectly fine critique of the game. Uh, my issue with the camera is the fact that there is input issues with it. That at least in the non-performance when you're going for highest graphic quality settings, if you are, let's say you're holding the right stick to rotate your camera, you will go for like 1, 2, 3, and the camera will spin for 1, 2, 3, 4. It will continue momentum for like almost a full second after you go. It got better for me when I turned my camera sensitivity up, but it still does it. And it's very annoying.
See what's going on. It's just not very practical. So hopefully they can change that. But other than that, exploration within the castle is awesome. You noticed I've turned off the mini map entirely. You can actually do that in the menus. So if you want,
it took me forever to figure out how to, and it is so much better. I am a big advocate for in this game, the less HUD you have, the better the game feels.
to just have a more organic explorative experience, you can do that. And I've had a great time while doing it. Basically, you can turn off the mini map, and then you can still select waypoints like this, but with a simple press up on the D-pad, it creates this little trail leading you to where you need to
Which
go.
feels
so you don't have
fine
to be staring
because
at
it's
a
part of
mini-map
magic.
while you explore. Your eyes can instead be on all of the other stuff in the castle that they've spent so much time and effort putting together.
Yep.
You don't need to think about staring at the minimap at all. You can just look at all of the wonderful sights that they've put together here. all the crazy people that are running around doing stuff,
Like Peeves.
and the Great Hall. Oh, it's just everything you were hoping for. And like I said, there's a lot of little secrets to be found and reasons to keep exploring. And
Oh, he planned that.
if you know where to look and you know what you're looking for, you can find a lot of it. And this is going to be a game that I think a lot of people are going to have fun running around. And,
I haven't explored the Great Hall yet.
Just ticking away at for the completionists.
Oh, hey,
And
waypoint.
those looking for the platinums. There's lots to discover, lots to look at, and yeah, I mean, the game is just freaking massive. It's ridiculous.
That gets really annoying. She repeats that line so many times. It gets really annoying. They needed to either make it so that she didn't talk every time you got near her, or give her more dialogue, because it's really annoying.
And you know what? I really
It's almost
just
as
have to
annoying
hand
as
it
me
to
saying it's annoying.
Avalanche and to Porky Games. This was an extremely difficult game to pull off,
It was.
and you guys seem to have done it. Now, does this mean the narrative's going to be amazing? Does this mean that like there aren't going to be problems? Does this mean it's not going to get like repetitive over time? Not necessarily. I'm sure there's going to be more issues as I continue playing.
I've already
But
run
as of
into
right
some narrative
now, having
issues
just
that I don't
started
like.
it, my first impressions are very, very positive. And that doesn't always happen. In fact, a lot of the time it doesn't happen, and I end up getting more into a game after I've put 10, 20 hours into it. A lot of games within the first 45 minutes, you kind of know if it sucks, and you don't need to see much more after that. What was it? Was that the owl? I think that was the owl that was like
Yes, it was.
freaking out. Yeah. But anyway, what was I saying? But anyway, what I'm saying is that I'm really enjoying this game so far, and my first impressions are so positive that I would recommend that you go and give it a shot if you're somebody who's been interested in this game, and if you don't want things spoiled for you, because almost without a doubt there will be spoilers leaking all over the place
Yep.
for the story, for the characters, and for gameplay beats the very moment that this game comes out, because everybody is already kind of acting in bad faith with it for various reasons. So if this is something you've been interested in, I would not leave any possibility of somebody coming along and ruining.
I concur with that 100%. And it's not just because people are acting in bad faith, but it's also the fact that there's so much negativity around the game that people really, really want to show the positive aspects of the game to beat back all the negativity, and to kind of just like give the proverbial middle finger to the people that are being negative about the game. So unfortunately, that is going to come at the cost of the people that are not purchasing the game immediately and don't want spoilers. So yeah.
Ruining the game for you. So that's kind of my overarching thoughts. I can't wait to keep playing this. I'm going to be finishing this over the course of the next 3 days, and I cannot wait. It's going to be a long week, but I'm very much excited for it. And I will be having my wife, Nikki, actually help me as I play this, because she's going to be playing with a different house affiliation, and we're going to test to see if two characters actually have different experiences and different quests available to them and stuff like that. So we're going to do a little testing and stuff. It's going to be fun. But until then,
I don't think they'll have different quests from my own experiences, but I do think that the houses slightly matter, because there are dialogues that change, as far as I can tell, because I've had a few dialogues that keep mentioning me being a Slytherin. But nonetheless,
thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for checking out my live channel as well. Luke Stevens Live in the search bar. I'm possibly live at the very moment that this video is being watched by you. So if you're interested in checking it out, go check out my live channel. Live stream clips, highlights, pretty much any video that
not what I was expecting out of the video, but I did enjoy it. I would talk more about the video, but I already ranted on long enough. So I hope you all enjoyed. This is Serpent Stinger signing out for the night. Bye.